I'll start this video by asking you a question. When you feel cold, do you just endure the cold, or do you bundle up? We don't fight the cold. Instead, we look for ways to warm up, like wearing a sweater or having something hot to drink. Similarly, to overcome negative thoughts, we need to learn to think positively. Stoicism was the first school of thought in humanity, and they paid a lot of attention to our way of thinking. Improving your mind is about taking total control of your life, developing the ability to actively shape your responses to everything that happens to you. This video gathers Stoic principles into some positive ways of thinking that you can start applying immediately in your life. Epictetus always said that the sole function of philosophy is to improve our lives and elevate our moral capacity. So if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Identify your patterns of negative thoughts. You cannot change something without first understanding what needs to be changed. Negative thoughts can arise automatically in our heads. After all, no one controls thoughts, but we can learn to identify them. The more we notice what we've been thinking, the more we can interrupt those thoughts. What comes to your mind most often? What thoughts do you always have? This thing I want to do won't work out. If I join the gym, everyone will stare at me. I'll end up feeling embarrassed. I feel like I'm always disappointing my family. Wow, I'm so dumb. I'll never be able to do this. It's too hard for me. I feel like I lost my youth taking care of others, and now I'm alone. I don't know how to do anything right. All my friends have a life plan, only I'm lost. These are some examples of negative thought patterns. Each of us has our own story, and our thoughts reflect these experiences, forming images in our head. Identify these images that you constantly repeat and start replacing these negative ideas with positive ones. I don't know how to do anything right. I will learn from my mistakes and improve. When you identify what you think and force yourself to use more positive words, it changes the dynamics of your thinking. Instead of being part of the illness, you start being part of the cure. You begin to think positively and find ways to live more positively. For this, you need to take total control of your attention and observe where your thoughts are. Question whether they encourage you to grow and make you more at peace, or just hold you back. Also, be aware of your body's reactions to the feelings each thought provokes. If just thinking about something makes you angry, your heart races, you start to get agitated. That cannot be a positive thought. On the contrary, if thinking about something makes you feel motivated and willing, that's a thought pattern you should keep. Being aware of our thoughts allows us to interrupt the negative ones. Other examples of negative actions include actively avoiding people or situations. To stop sabotaging yourself in this way, you need to learn how to transform your thoughts. The key is simply to start paying attention to your thoughts at any time. This can be a challenge at first, especially if you've never done it before, but it's a fundamental step for self-awareness. Break away from your beliefs and negative thought systems. Imagine your mind as if it were a bank with two accounts, one for negative thoughts and one for positive ones. Every time you have a thought, it's as if you make an automatic transfer to one of these accounts. If most of your thoughts are negative throughout the day, the balance of your negative account grows. The same happens with the positive one. When we face challenges or need to act, we use the balance of these accounts, and the type of thought we have automatically decides which account we will turn to. For example, if you have an important presentation at work and think, "I get so anxious that I'm going to end up embarrassing myself." Your negative account automatically issues you a statement, reminding you of the times things didn't go well. Your argumentation is a bit weak, or that time you didn't pass the interview, reinforcing the belief that you don't speak well and won't succeed. When you start something with a negative pattern, you will hardly be able to get a different result. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, as if you literally programmed yourself to fail, like bringing the wrong PowerPoint to work, interrupting the client all the time, answering incorrectly. In other words, you're going to act wrongly at the wrong time, doing the wrong things, to validate your negative thought and your belief that you don't speak well in public. Each negative thought is a transfer into your account, increasing your negative beliefs about yourself. Another way is to adopt the beliefs of others or cultural beliefs for ourselves without first questioning their truth. For example, some believe that a person only succeeds in life by being dishonest or doing wrong. Suppose you start selling lunchboxes, working from Monday to Saturday, making tasty and fresh food. Start cooking in your own home, in your kitchen, and after a few months, the orders increase and you start to make profits, manage to buy a new stove, then a new refrigerator. You managed to improve your financial condition thanks to your work and effort. You didn't need to be dishonest with anyone for this to happen. Another popular belief: no man is worth it, so there's no point in starting. It won't work out. I've been cheated on. I'll always be cheated on. Not all people act the same way. Just because it happened once doesn't mean you're destined or doomed to it forever. It may be more difficult to find people who want a serious relationship, but they do exist. We constantly close ourselves off to opportunities, taking on cultural beliefs and acting through them. We adopt negative thoughts about money, relationships, nutrition, and many other aspects of our life. One of the Stoic principles is the importance of carefully evaluating each situation and action, teaching us to rethink our judgments. This means learning to look beyond our initial reactions, adopting a more optimistic and rational view. If you do this for a few weeks, repetition will help you change the structure of your thoughts, and true changes will happen in your life. Learn to develop positive mental processes. Consider the importance of this thought by Marcus Aurelius. The time has come for you to realize that there is something in you more powerful and stronger than anything that influences, controls you, and makes you act as if you were a puppet. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, unknowingly, laid the groundwork for what we now know as cognitive behavioral therapy. This therapy proposes that our thoughts directly influence our feelings and actions. If we change negative thought patterns, we can reshape our emotional responses and live more positively. Stoics know that it takes a lot of practice to stop allowing fear, anger, and other negative emotions to block the logical thinking we are all capable of. No matter how frequent or automatic your negative thoughts are, or if you can't get rid of them, you have the capability to transform them. We can learn to think differently with effort and self-control. One strategy you can start practicing to better manage your mind is to take control of your thought system. Just as each negative thought increases the balance of your negative account, the same rule applies to your positive account. Every time you think, question, or face something positively, you make a transfer into your account. For example, if you spill coffee on the floor early in the morning, instead of thinking that your day started badly and will only get worse, see it for what it really is: a simple accident. Annoying and uncomfortable because you'll have to clean it up or maybe change your clothes. But it's an isolated event that doesn't define your day. See it as a reminder not to do things on autopilot. Positive thinking teaches your brain to find paths to a more positive life, making positive thoughts more frequent. Negative thinking operates in exactly the opposite way, training your mind to produce more thoughts that pull you into negativity and failure. Your positive account grows when you think positively, ask positive questions, or seek a positive approach to what happens to you. Each of these is an automatic transfer. Our second strategy is to learn to evaluate the impact and the time we dedicate to each thought. Some people cling to negative thoughts and feelings because they focus on them more than anything else. In other words, when we become obsessed with the same negative thoughts, we give them enormous value, making these thoughts last longer than they should. It's like turning up the volume on something bad, making it even worse in your head. For example, imagine someone who has recently lost their job and starts to think they will never find another one, that they will fail in interviews, that they will run out of money and go into debt. These negative thoughts paralyze anyone. The more importance given to these thoughts, the longer they will last. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself. If you liked our video, like, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube knows that this type of content helps people like you, and we can continue creating more similar videos in the future. If you don't know what to comment, simply write "Silence is power" to show that you have surpassed our session. This leads to a vicious cycle of negativity, where the person becomes trapped in negative thoughts, losing the ability to see clearly and closing themselves off to any opportunity or solution, even if it is right in front of them. Overemphasizing difficulties causes negative thoughts to last longer and dominate the mind. Although this situation is quite difficult and challenging, thinking positively means seeing clearly and looking for possible solutions, without the weight and despair caused by negative thinking. Stoicism shows us how to view each problem as an opportunity to grow, changing the way we respond emotionally. When we can't control the wind, we must adjust our sails and gradually change our course until a new direction is reached. As a third strategy, we can understand the transience of life. It is difficult to recognize the fleeting nature of life, since we naturally wish for the good times to last forever and for the bad times never to come. Seneca warned us about this when he said, "They imagine that their good fortune will never end, and that their gains will not only continue, but will increase. Forgetting the seesaw on which human affairs are balanced, they are certain that fortune will remain stable just for them." Seneca highlighted our tendency to ignore the instability of the human condition, believing in the constancy of luck always in our favor. Nothing in the world supports this illusion. The year is renewed every 12 months. The climate is renewed each season. Everything in nature changes. Nothing remains the same. Therefore, as much as we may suffer from something today, it is important to remember that this pain is temporary. Therefore, practically speaking, when a negative thought or something persists in staying on your mind, ask yourself, and in 10 years, will this still make sense? Will it be as important as it is now? Do you remember what thoughts and major concerns occupied your mind 10 years ago? Probably not. When we reframe our problems and negative thoughts for 10 years from now, we manage to diminish their importance and impact on the present. This helps us understand that something is rarely so crucial and important that it affects our lives in the long term. Marcus Aurelius once said that our thoughts color our souls, showing how our way of thinking has a significant impact on us. And when our mind is loaded with negative thoughts, the most common way to express them is by complaining. Complaining becomes a negative emotional vent, an outburst. And complaining is so easy that people often don't realize they are bogged down in complaints. Complaining takes us off the right path, contradicting Stoic teachings that value harmony with nature and gratitude. To change this pattern, we need to take a step back mentally, noticing when we start to complain and then making an effort to stop this behavior. Epictetus, a Stoic philosophy teacher, taught that to overcome bad habits, it's better to make changes gradually. He gave his students a 30-day challenge to rid themselves of harmful habits. If someone managed to avoid the bad habit during this time, Epictetus would thank the gods. You can focus on a day, an hour without complaining, and maintain absolute control not to declare your emotional dissatisfaction. Sometimes we confuse the idea of positive thinking with a form of positivity that is merely superficial. As we start paying attention to what we are thinking and practice each exercise, we gradually change the structure of our thought processes, meaning we gradually change the way we think. It's an internal change that takes time and effort to happen. If we commit to this process over a few months, true changes will occur in our lives. In contrast, superficial positivity, as the name itself defines, is just an external appearance. An example of this is believing wholeheartedly that we will win the big lottery jackpot. Despite the momentary feeling of euphoria, the real probability of winning is minimal, regardless of optimism. This type of superficial positivity is just talk. Without worrying about changing, that's why practicing it makes you feel good at the moment, and in the long run, you don't see results or difference. To truly transform our thought patterns, repetition is our last and most essential strategy, and in this process, it's important to be patient with yourself. Imagine that in recent years, every negative thought of yours was a transfer to your negative account, which is booming. Now, you need to learn the opposite way and start thinking positively. This requires effort, attention, and self-control. By repeating each positivity exercise daily and not blaming yourself for some mistakes or oversights, in a short time, these positive thoughts will start to influence your actions and behaviors, leading to a real and noticeable change. In this video, we discussed how to identify your negative thought patterns, how to interrupt your beliefs and negative thoughts, and how to learn to develop positive mental processes. Lastly, let's talk about your right to think positively and experience good things in life. Sometimes we think so negatively that we start to believe it's normal to have bad things happen. We begin to not care about receiving less from life, to undervalue ourselves, and to accept friendships or relationships with people who don't truly care about us. We might also punish ourselves by not developing our skills or by slowing down, whether due to fear of rejection or feeling undeserving of a better life. Complete change lies in the affirmative imperative, in giving the order. Give yourself permission to think positively and be happy. Give yourself permission with conviction. Recognize that you can learn to think positively and can start doing so from now on. You can look around, think about external things or the people you interact with. None of them can decide this for you. Your true happiness can only come from you. Addressing his students, the Stoic master Epictetus was also categorical on this point. Do not seek what is good outside of you. Seek within yourselves, or you will never find it. And it starts with you giving yourself permission with conviction to adopt a positive mental stance. Tonight, before you go to sleep, think about this.